Thank you so much for joining in after the keynotes. And thank you for choosing to be in this session because I know there are a lot of multiple sessions happening at the same time. So thank you so much for choosing this one. Before I start, a quick show of hands. How many of you all are platform engineers? I assume everyone. Yeah. How many of you have built golden paths or are related to building something such as golden paths? Some of you. So I know you are the target audience for me. But then if you are not, still be here. I'm sure it will be helpful for you. To begin with, quick introduction about me. I'm Atulpriya Sharma and I'm from Hyderabad, India. I work as a senior developer advocate at Improving, which was formerly known as InfraCloud Technologies. I was the co-chair for KubeCon India that happened in August earlier this year. I'm also a CNCF ambassador and I lead the Cloud Native Hyderabad chapter as well as co-organize the platform engineering technical community group. My interests are in platform engineering, DevOps, developer relations, and obviously Gen AI because we all have to keep up with the latest trends. To know more about me, there's my QR code. You can look me up on LinkedIn. Outside of work, I'm a big time foodie and a travel blogger. So when I'm not working or doing platform engineering, I love to travel and explore new places. So these are a few places that I visited, and recently I was delivering a keynote at KCD Sri Lanka, where I did a cooking class to learn how to prepare for Sri Lankan dal. So to know more about all my travel journeys, better itineraries, there's my QR code, and you can check out itineraries for your next travel. Now, because I'm a food and travel explorer, let's start talking about food. When I landed here in Atlanta, the first thing I did was I need to find good vegetarian restaurants here. And I straight away went to Yelp and Happy Cow. These are the two platforms that provide me with a list of curated restaurants where I can go and eat. Now, what interesting here is that Yelp didn't actually create these restaurants, but it did create this platform. Yelp is not writing the reviews. They are not taking the photos. It's the users who are contributing to it. The users are rating places. The users are providing photographs. The users are contributing to it. And that's what the platform does here. The platform doesn't own the content. It just facilitates the exchange. And quality emerges from community validation, and there is no centralized control. So here's my question. When Yelp lets anyone share expertise, why doesn't our internal platforms? It's Monday morning. As a platform engineer, if you open your Slack, this is probably what you would see. You open Slack, you have tons of 100 messages. You have Randy who is asking for what happened to his platform Python deployment template that he was looking for. You have Janine who's still waiting on the Redis operator. The platform team had to give it to her team. And then you also had Corby who's looking for the ML inference pipeline and when it's ready. Now, you have incredible expertise across the entire organization, but there is no mechanism for teams to help each other. And let's understand why this happens. You did everything right. You built golden paths, your teams adopted it, and this is exactly the success story all of us need. But the problem is, this is what feels like a failure because your success brought adoption, adoption brought scale, and scale brought a math problem that apparently you cannot solve. Here's the math. Let's imagine there are 50 teams. Each of these teams need about 4 new capabilities per quarter. That makes up to about 200 requests. You have 3 platform engineers on your team. Each of them can maybe deliver 10 capabilities per quarter if they are really good. They will deliver 30 capabilities. Now here's a gap. There are 170 undelivered requests. And before you just go and say, let's just hire more platform engineers, you know that's not going to scale and sustain. And there is a bigger problem here apart from scaling, and that is the lost expertise. You have a security team that's expert in secret management and policy enforcement. You have an ML team which have battle-tested GPU orchestration. You have a data team which have built optimized observability stacks. You have a front-end team that have proven CI/CD pipelines and patterns that you have used. All these capabilities exist within your organization, within the various teams, but it is trapped in silos. There is no mechanism for them to share. Platform team has to be the experts in everything, but that's impossible. So what if we flipped this model. And that is where the marketplace model comes into picture. What if instead of building a highway where you control everything as a platform team, why don't we build a bazaar, a marketplace, where everyone can set up a shop? This is the internal developer marketplace model. This is the place where teams become both buyers and sellers of capabilities. And if you want more validation, there's Abby Bankser, who in her keynote spoke about exactly that, the consumer and the producer model. And that's what I'm just going to expand a little bit. So Abby did a lot of work for me by mentioning this on her slide. So it's reduced. So thank you so much, Abby, for bringing that up. So let's apply the Yelp model to your IDP. In Yelp, you have users contributing reviews, the platform enables discovery, and the community validates quality through ratings. In your IDP marketplace, teams can contribute capabilities, deployment template, which can be deployment templates, it can be security tools, it could be observability stacks. You, the platform team, enable discovery through a catalog. So you validate quality through automated checks and human reviews in place, and everyone benefits from the distributed expertise. So you have the same model that Yelp and any other discovery platform uses, but you have a completely different domain, and you are leveraging what's successful there within your own internal developer platform. So what exactly changes here? Let's take the golden path model. So you have the platform team here that builds everything. Teams just consume. The innovation is limited to your roadmap. And scaling means hiring more platform engineers, which is not sustainable in the long run. In the marketplace model, any team can contribute capabilities. Teams both consume and produce, and innovation, hence, is distributed across the entire organization. And this means scaling is easier, and scaling here means enabling more contributions to the platform. And what's powerful over here is that every team can wear different hats. So today, you are a consumer of the security team's security template. Tomorrow, you are a producer where you publish your own fast API templates. Next week, you are both. You are consuming the observability stacks while you're publishing your own data pipeline patterns. So everyone within this model becomes a producer and a consumer. But what does this look like in practice? So here's a real scenario. Your backend team has been running a Python fast API service in production for a long time. They have figured out the deployment patterns. They have the Docker file, the Kubernetes manifest, the CI pipelines, observability setups, and everything else is in place. It handles authentication, it does caching, it has rate limiting, monitoring, everything baked in. Other teams keep asking, how did you do this? And they are manually helping each of the teams. So in the old model, they would wait for the platform team to actually build these capabilities. But in the marketplace model, they can directly contribute to the marketplace. So here's a high-level overview or a workflow of how the contribution would actually work. So first, the backend team would submit their template to a contribution repository. This could be a specific GitHub repo, a GitLab project, or whatever you use existing in your organization. Second, we will have automated quality checks that run immediately. So the moment a template is contributed by a team to the platform, this automated quality checks will run security scans, will do linting, will do policy validations, and all of this based on your organization's requirements. Third, and the most important, is a member from the platform team will be reviewing it. Now, this entire process is not fully automated, but you are still the gatekeepers of quality. But the automated checks have already filtered out like 80% of the wrong things that shouldn't be in the platform. So as a human reviewer, as the human in the loop, you have your work cut out, but still there's a human in the process, so you know that the templates that make to the platform are going to be of a certain quality. Now, once these are approved, it is actually published to your service catalog. And finally, other teams can discover these templates and use them. So let us look at how this discovery would happen. So once you have the teams that are contributing the templates, the service catalog could be something like this. So it could be a well-structured GitHub repo without without too many bells and whistles, or it could be a backstage port or any portal that you want to use to make a discovery portal for that. They could simply search for a Python or a fast API, and then they would find the template here. They can see exactly who is the owner of that particular template. So you can see there's a backend team, you have the security team. They can see the documentation for every template, so they know exactly how they can use this particular template. There are examples provided by the team that has published the template, so they know exactly how to use this particular template. The SLOs are defined as well, and they can also see how many teams are actually using this particular template. So they know the adoption for the template there, and looking at that, they build trust, and they can start adopting if that is what they were looking for. They can simply go ahead and click Use this template, and it'll provision everything that is needed based on the capability that was provided. So everything from your Docker file to Kubernetes manifest, your CI pipelines, monitoring setup, everything is done. So what happens here is that they didn't wait for 6 weeks for the platform team to build it. The backend team didn't have to manually help them, and everyone in this process wins. But here's where it gets interesting. As time passes, there is the network effect that will come into picture. In the first month, you might just have the teams just adopting the template or the capability that has been contributed, assuming 3 of those teams actually contribute back the improvements to the template or to the platform. One team, let's say, adds async worker support because they needed background jobs. So they have improved the existing template that was provided by a particular team, and they have added this new capability to it. Another team probably adds a Redis caching layer to this to improve the speed of their application. A third team might enhance the rate limiting to make the application more resilient. So each improvement gets merged back to the template that was originally contributed by a team. And now, automatically, all the 12 teams benefit from this. So they just pull the latest version, and they all have the latest capabilities with all the latest improvements that were made. And if you see here, the platform team didn't actually build any of this. The backend team isn't maintaining it completely alone. It's a shared responsibility. The teams that have contributed the capability to the platform are now the original maintainers of the particular capability. It's eventually the community that maintains it. Now, one of the questions that would come up is, how would you govern or how would you pay attention to the quality of capabilities that are contributed back to the platform? So here I spoke about the quality checks, the automated checks that would be in place. So that's your layer 1, which is an automated gate. And this would catch 80% of the issues even before a human can look into it. So based on your organization's policies, the best practices or the good practices, you can have all of them baked in over here so that most of the things are chopped off, and you have only the better ones going ahead in the process where a human can review it. So everything like security problems, policy violation, missing standards, all of this are automatically caught by your automated gate. The layer 2 is where the human review happens by your platform team. So here you are not reviewing the raw submissions, as I said. A lot of it is already cleared off. So you are reviewing things that are already passed by the automated checks. So a review is basically focused on the 20% of the things that matter the most. Does it fit the patterns that you have set as a platform team? Is this going to be maintainable in the long run? Is the documentation clear? Can any team just download that template and start using it by following the documentation that you have created? Can other teams actually use what you have submitted? So these are the things as a platform team you can focus on. And this no more becomes a bottleneck. Your platform team is no more a bottleneck because most of the work is already done, and the queue that comes in is already filtered. So now you have become the curator, and you are no more the builder of the capabilities. Now, we all know that since all of us have been working in open source, you know that all the contributions are not going to be equal. There are some that are going to be of root quality. There are some that are going to be really mature and good inputs. And that is where you could build as a team internal maturity tiers for each of the capabilities that are contributed back. So this will ensure only the best stays, and it will also help the teams that are going to be adopting this template. So for example, you could have, and again, this is just a concept that I'm trying to share here. So you could have at one end
experimental, which means anyone can publish this capability, but it is like, use it on your own risk. There's a greater risk involved because it has not passed the quality checks that you have. It is not as per the standard guidelines, but this is great for innovation. So if there is someone in your team, if there are some teams that are trying to build something new, try something different, they could donate a capability to the platform, and that could be as an experimental category. Now, the next level could be supported. So this is where the capability that has been submitted, it has passed all the quality gates. It has a clear documentation in place. It has a clear roadmap. It also has a clear SLO defined if that's required. Next, you have the production grade capabilities, which means these have higher adoptions. So remember, I spoke about the discovery mechanism where you had a number of teams that have adopted. So that becomes a trust factor here. So if you see a template is being adopted by a lot of teams, you know that this is a production grade. I mean, that's just one of the criterias, obviously. And then it is actively maintained, so you can go and see when was the last change made, what are the latest changes that has been done. It has a comprehensive documentation. So these are the production grade. And then at the far end, you have the platform recommended capabilities, which are officially endorsed by your team. So these essentially are your golden path equivalent within the marketplace. So these are confirming all the standards that are set by the platform teams, which passes all the quality checks, everything that your organization has set. So these are platform recommended. So it could be images that developers use for building their applications. These could be the databases that they're using. These could be the messaging services that they're using. So these are all the platform recommended capabilities. So when you're trying to implement a marketplace model, this is what you can implement to ensure that the capabilities that are coming within your platform have a certain maturity, and you can filter them accordingly according to that. Now, we all know that the moment you come to things like open source, and when you want more and more teams to contribute to the platform, the first thing is, why would teams contribute to this? Right? They already have a bunch of things to do. They are already maintaining their applications. They are already doing a lot of keeping the services in place. So why would a team contribute back to your platform? First, it obviously reduces toil. So if you contribute your deployment templates and 10 teams use it, those 10 teams will probably say, find out issues that they will report. They will suggest improvements. And then they'll also, let's say, raise a PR internally to fix those issues or add those improvements. So now what happens is you yourself are not the sole maintainer alone of it. There are people who are using it. They're going to be maintaining the capability. So you have reduced toil. Secondly, this also adds to your career credit. If contributions could be added to the performance reviews, and I think they should be added, then you can make it in form of inner sourcing credits. So the engineers who are there, they get recognition for the work that they are doing by contributing the capabilities that they have built back to the platform. Third is where the teams can influence decision making. When you contribute to the platform, you shape how your domain works across the entire organization. So let's say you have a capability where you talk about defining how authorization and authentication work. So as a security team, you have battle tested the entire authorization and authentication. So you build a template for it, and when you contribute back to the platform, and when it is completely approved and approved by the platform team, this practice could be adopted across the entire organization. So you as a security team can influence the way the entire security landscape works within your organization, and then this becomes the gold standard. So in a way, you get a chance to influence the way how things would work within the entire organization across the teams. Fourth, we spoke about the network effect. And this is basically where your contribution literally gets better as others improve it. So you benefit from their expertise. As the team, you could contribute a template that you are working on, but then there could be things that would be missing pieces within that puzzle where other teams could come and fix those things and make your template much more stronger so that it could be adopted by the larger teams within the organization. And lastly, recognition. all of us want recognition. So, you could have an evangelism program within the organization. I speak a lot about platform adoption at places. How do you champion your platform, right? That's always a key. You have built a platform really well. It has all the capabilities, but nobody's using it, right? So when you have teams that are contributing back to the platform, you can give them recognition. So, you could have some sort of shout outs for the top contributors. You could give them, you could have dedicated blog posts, or you could share their wins on social media as a company, whether internal or external. So this becomes part of your engineering brand. So as a company, as an organization, you are showcasing the capabilities of your internal teams and how they are contributing back to your platform, and also showing how you as an organization are championing the adoption of your platform, as well as, in a way, open sourcing or inner sourcing things to your platform. And when you do this, it makes the lives of everyone easier. The producers we are talking about here, the consumers that we are talking here, and everyone advances in their career. So the ones that are consuming, they are focusing more on the core task because they already have an approved template in place. And the ones that are contributing are obviously learning and helping make a better ecosystem. So how do you actually start? That's one question we hear at every place. You talk about platforms, how do you start building a platform? You talk about golden paths, how do you start your golden path journey? And we are talking about marketplace model here. How do you actually start it? So the phase one would be pick one capability. Don't try to go behind all the capabilities that you need. Start with one capability, and one of the easiest one could be a deployment template. You can just pick up the deployment template. You can define the underlying image that is required, the resources that's required. So that could be the easiest one. Create a contribution guideline. You have a basic README in place, basic documentation in place. You talk about what the structure of the template has to be. So as a platform team, you govern the guidelines, you govern the guardrails, and then you define everything in the document that how the structure needs to be, what are the requirements of having this capability, and set up the basic quality gates. And it could simply just be linting and basic security scans to start with. You don't want a fully blown image scanning or vulnerability scanning right from the word go. And while you are doing this, make sure to document this entire process so that next time you have a runbook in place that other teams, or even when you are out of this place or out of the team, you have other teams that can adopt the runbook and actually look at how to get the process started. Phase two, identify a few teams that have something worth sharing. So this is where we discuss a lot within the platform engineering community as to how we can get different folks from different teams with different capabilities and expertise to come on board and contribute back to the platform, or work on something interesting which is worth sharing to the platform. So you work with them. Initially, probably you could focus on white gloving the service initially, and then celebrate loudly, right? So you work a few months with those teams, identify a couple of engineers who are interested to work on a particular capability, dedicate some time with them so that they are able to build this particular capability. And once you have it at a certain level, then you can go ahead and start announcing it in your internal channels. You can start sharing newsletters with your teams, or any other way to tell the world about the new capabilities that is being worked upon. And once you have one capability within the marketplace, all you have to do is repeat this process. So you can add more capability types. You can add automation to this entire process. So you could identify the places that could be automated. So things like, you have the template ready, the initial checking whether it actually follows the guidelines or the template that you as a platform team has provided. You could have obviously better security scanning, vulnerability scanning in place. So you could add all of this. So ideally, when you're trying to do something like this, it should not be a big bang transformation. It's supposed to be an iterative process. So you start small, you identify a capability that you can work on, you identify a few engineers who would want to work on that, you work on that internally, and then you just share it with the entire organization so that they can work on that. So 3 things that you all need to go back and do on Monday. First one, identify the experts within your organization, right? Survey your organization, identify which teams have battle-tested capabilities that are worth sharing with the entire organization. It could be your security team, it could be your ML team, it could be your data team. Trust me, they all have something that they want to share. It's just that they don't know how to share, they don't know where to share. So just go back, chat with them, have a discussion, and I'm pretty sure you will find something over there. Second, set up a discovery mechanism for them, for the capabilities that they work, to be shared. And like I said before, this need not be a fully blown portal or a UI with all the bells and whistles. It could be just a simple, well-structured markdown file within your GitHub repo. You could just start that as your initial discovery catalog. So teams can simply go to your GitHub repo, have the README or the markdown file, have links to wherever your capabilities are, and they can directly use that. You don't need any portal like a Backstage or anything on day one to start with, right? Just use whatever you are using. Third, you create your first contribution template. Because when you want people to contribute to your platform, you want to ensure that they are within a set guideline. They follow certain good practices that you as a platform team have provided. So what the teams need to submit or what are the quality requirements. Give them an example on how a template should be. So give all these details, and then the whole idea over here is make the entire process dead simple to use. The more longer the process is, the more complex it gets, and the more difficult it would be for anyone to contribute back. So keep it as simple as possible. I know we have all heard that term across our entire life in software. The easier you make it, the more contributions is what you will get within your platform. So with that, I would like to conclude for today. I would like to point you all to my KubeCon keynote that I gave at KubeCon in India, which was around developer experience. And just the analogy of Yelp that I use here to find restaurants, that's the exact analogy most of the developers will use to find their next tool. If they have a problem, if they'll go on Google, they'll search for the solutions, they will get a few results, they will read the reviews of that particular tool, they will visit your website, they'll go through the documentation, they'll do the complete research before actually clicking that try button or something. So that's the exact process that I've spoken about in the keynote in much detail. So if you are interested, you can read the post, you can have a look at the video to understand more about developer experience and platform engineering. And lastly, as I said initially, I am one of the co-chairs for the Platform Engineering Technical Community Group. We all have a booth today at the Project Pavilion. It's already on, and we have a few lightning talks that are already happening. So there are a few that already happened while I was talking here, but there are a few more lined up later in the day. So if you want to know more about platform engineering, what the community is doing, or if you have more interesting ideas to share, do drop by the booth. You will find me and a bunch of other people at the booth, and we can discuss more. So with that, thank you so much for being a wonderful audience and listening to me patiently. And yes, we can open for questions, or we can discuss it in the hallway as well. Thank you.
Hi, so I have two issues around this. My company, Liberty Mutual, has a templates patterns marketplace, pretty much like you suggested. And I want to raise two issues we face and hear your thoughts on them. The first is, on your slide around why teams contribute, you brought up a lot of really good points. The issue is, after it's been 2 or 3 years since your pattern offering was deployed, and the original developer has left to a different team, now your team is supporting a pattern that nobody's invested in anymore because there's no hierarchical need. It's a cross-organizational pattern, and it doesn't affect your evaluations or anything. That it's almost like a co-curricular or extracurricular thing. Your budget does not depend on what your marketplace offering does. So it becomes challenging and to motivate teams to upgrade the outdated patterns because it is not in their mandate, and that's something we've I think been struggling with. The second issue is, say, for example, that you do decide to upgrade and update and try to move your existing customers of the pattern to a new pattern, for various reasons, maybe security upgrades, right? What we've experienced is now, this goes back to classical model of upgrades and support. A lot of your customers don't want to upgrade because their existing patterns and systems depend on the old pattern. And then somebody else wants a new feature and so forth. And often what happens is they get frustrated with you for not heeding to their needs, and you get frustrated because it's not your job to do, meet their needs. So this evolves into being is every team or every cluster of team that needs a similar feature ends up coming up with a similar pattern. And in the end, you end up with a marketplace that has like a dozen patterns that fulfill a similar need. And the new customers, they have no clue which patterns they want to use. So in the end, sometimes it feels like people often really want to go back to the golden pattern because then at least you knew what you were supposed to do.
Interesting. So first of all, I would like to say that do join our platform engineering discussions because we really want stories like these within the community so that all of us can benefit from your learnings and your experiences here. To add to this, I think the 2 cents that I would give here would be to have a better communication model within the entire team. So just like how your open source community works, right? So you have a particular cadence that you set up. You also have all the teams that are involved in maintaining or working on a particular capability, for example. So once you have that close-knit regular cadence that is in place, so we could reduce such instances in future because when you know that, let's say you have a new engineer joining a team, right? So you can direct them that, hey, we have this thing in place. Why don't you go and see? So if not all the 10 new engineers would want to do it, let's say a couple of them do join. So you still have that pool, in place. So over time, while you will have the actual maintainers becoming, let's say, emeritus or whatever, the other folks who are joining within a particular team, they would still understand on what's happening, and then they can become over time as maintainers. So exactly how it's happening in projects like Kubernetes or Grafana here, that same could be replicated. But obviously, it's going to be a time-consuming task. You need to, and even before we actually start working on this, there needs to be a lot more brainstorming done at the drawing board with all the teams, because unless you have a proper structure in place, this cannot be done, replicated as is. So those are my thoughts, but let's definitely connect because not only me, the entire community would want to hear, what happened there because, we are working on a bunch of other, artifacts as a community, and those learnings will definitely help us. So thank you so much. Yeah, we'll discuss outside. Thanks. Yes, sir. Oh, I think he says there's no time, so I'll probably get down and we can discuss one-on-one on this. Sure. Thank you so much.